Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're here again with another video demonstrating how to use TurboStruct, and in this specific video we're going to be looking at the various saving scenarios available within TurboStruct. All of this information is available here in the documentation in the step-by-step section, the step-by-step guide. If you want to see it, once you have the plugin activated, you'll go to the map, then help, and click on TurboStruct documentation. This will be closed, so open it, then open the quick start guide and select a step-by-step blueprint, workflow. Well, here, what we're going to cover is the step-by-step process of how to create the structures and everything related to them, and also the 4 most common saving scenarios. In this particular video, we'll explain the first one, but I'll be making 3 other videos to explain all the rest. I'm going to give you a quick summary right now. Case 1 is the Singleton case. This means there will only be one instance of a particular actor throughout the entire game. For example, our player character will only ever have one, and even if we progress through different levels, we'll still only have that single player. Next we have Case 2, which involves multiple actors. These are several distinct actors that will continue to exist and operate within the same level. For example, ito pala po a chest type that we place on our map in editor mode, that when we hit play and when we hit escape, dalam mo, the chest will always be there. Then we have the case of actors spawned at runtime Fregantaisen, for example, whether it's an enemy, whether it's an object that we spawn with the spawn actor of class, etc. All of that is part of the runtime spawner actor. And finally, Case 4, which is the hybrid case, a fusion of Case 2 and Case 3. In this video, we'll focus on Case 1, and it will be a completely unedited video so that no one gets lost or confused. Yeah, and so let's go ahead and begin now. To get us started, the very first thing we're going to do is explain what exactly I currently have within this project. My character is completely empty right now with just one single float type variable, which is called health, and by default it has an initial value of 100. What are we going to do now? Well, for organization, I always create it here. I click the plus sign and create a new graph, mainly for organization, to keep the normal graph separate from the load. And well, the first thing is to create the data structures. For that, I'm going to come to a folder I created called save here inside first person, and I'm going to create another folder called structures. We are going to head into the structures folder, and from there we will then proceed to find structure, and after that we'll place fmaster data inside. Perfect. And we'll create another that will be if player data. Alright, so there we have it. What exactly are we going to be putting inside this player data structure? We'll be adding 3 distinct variables: the character's transform component, a dedicated camera rotator, and a floating point number to represent the player's current health value. Alright, once we have this, we'll go to the master data, and then we'll come over here, and we're going to change the variable type to fPlayer data, and we'll name it player. The data type will be single, because as we mentioned earlier, we're only going to have one actor of this particular type, so we'll just keep it as single. And we already have our data structures. Now, to make us a communication between my actor and my safe object, I'm going to create an interface, BPI, I'll call it safe actors data, and then I'll save. Let's come here and add the BPI safe actors data. Alright, that's perfect. Once we have successfully added it, we're going to come over here, and then we'll open it up, and we'll need to create 2 distinct functions for it: save player and load player. What are these 2 functions going to do? Well, we're going to use this one to get the player's data, and this one to lose the data for the player. We're going to go to the save function and add 3 outputs. One will be the transform, rotator, float, player transform,
camera,
rotation,
player.
And now we're going to do exactly the same thing with load. We're going to come over here to load, but instead of doing it within the output section, we're going to create 3 distinct inputs for it. Once again, it's going to be precisely the same: the player's transform component, camera rotation,
And we should also consider player health.
Okay, alright, so so now we have the interface as we saw earlier. I added it to the player. Here it is. Let's compile it. Perfect, no problem at all. And now let's go to the save player. And what are we going to do here? We're going to pull out actor, transform, then we'll drag it to the camera and add get world rotation. We connect it there, and then we connect the health data. It automatically sorts itself out right there. Perfect. Now we have the player complete with all its necessary information. Perfect. Now we need to create a manager, which we can do either in a blueprint or in an actor that acts as a safe manager. A safe manager. As I said, we can make it a widget, we can make it an actor, or place it in the level. It wouldn't make any difference. For the system is exactly the same thing. I'm going to create it as an actor in my case, and I'll name it BP under save. That's what it'll be called. Okay, we'll place it here. Actually, let's call it save manager so that it has a much better name, and then we'll drag it back onto the map. Alright, let's open the level now. As you can see here, I had already completed this part before. And I'm going to input the keys here, debug key 3 and debug key 4. Alright, we are ready. Now we're going to come over here to the actor. I'm going to drag it right over here. I'll place it down and I'll say, well, for now, nothing at all. I'll just leave it right there. Let's go ahead and open up the actor. Then we'll come to the event graph section and I'll delete all of these. Custom event, and we are going to set up two different events. This particular one will be designated as event save, and another custom event that we are going to be calling event load. Alright, now from this position we can put it event save, I'll put it on 3, and here event load, I'll put it on 4. Okay, and now in the actor, we're going to go to event save and we're going to add a function here. What are we going to call that function? Player save. We create the function, then we connect it right here. And we're going to search for TurboStruct save. We'll activate the async option, and then we're going to place an append here. This is primarily so we can have multiple subslots and all of that. You see? And we're going to put slot in, and we're going to create an integer type variable called slot. I'm going to connect it here to be. Alright, I've got that one. And now for this one right here, the subslot index, but I'm going to go to the variable section and I'm going to give it the name subslot. Alright, let's go ahead and put here custom event, save, success. Branch, and I'm going to add a print string with another append. That will be, and I'm going to connect it right here to the index, mainly just for the sake of knowing. Well, now we already have the basic structure set up here, and as we can clearly see when we compile, this particular node gives us an error. Why is that? Because it's telling us that something is missing within the data. We are going to proceed and create a new variable which will be called master data. Master data, and in this section we are going to put fMasterData. We'll connect this to our data, then save and compile it. Perfect. Now we can see that we no longer have that compilation error, but we still need to create the player save function. What exactly are we going to do here? Well, it's quite simple. We're going to take our variable from inside the function as a get, and then we'll add a set members node and we'll only activate the player. Up to this point, we're doing well. Alright, now we're going to come over here and we're going to perform a get player pawn. We're going to obtain the player pawn and then we'll call our function to save. Save player directly from the player pawn. Save player. We're going to connect this one here. And this one will connect right here. We'll make a make from this point. And here we have the three variables. We connect them and that's it. Now just with this, we're going to save the player or the player state. I'm going to come over here in the upper section at the level where we have tools. We'll see TurboStruct database. We'll open it as it will be useful later. We see that for now it's empty, completely empty. I am going to hit play, and if you remember, when I press a 3, is the event save, and it will save my progress. So I'll be right here, and I'm going to press 3. If you notice my frames per second dropping, it's mostly due to me running OBS, and well, my computer has a bit of a hard time. Alright, it's been saved now. And if we go over here, we're going to see that it's still empty, but if I just hit refresh, slot 0 is going to show up for us. Once we open that up, we're going to find that inside is all the metadata for the plugin itself, whether it was compressed with ODL, which specific folder it was stored in, the slot number, and so on. And here we have our player's data. So at this moment, what exactly do we have? We have the saving functionality. Now we just need to implement the entire load process. We're going to come over here and we'll see that we have the load event right here. Alright, from within this load event, the very first thing we're going to do is check if our saved data actually exists. Now how exactly are we going to accomplish that? We'll use TurboStruct exist. TurboStruct exists, which is perfect. If the slot actually exists, we're going to copy this part from the save file from a pair, specifically the append function of the save, and we'll paste it right here, and then we'll connect it to the main slot. This process will check to see if this specific file actually exists. If it does not exist, then the result will come back as false. However, if it comes back as true, we are then going to call a TurboStruct load, and right here, within the load, specifically in the part that is designated as main, we are going to connect exactly the very same thing. And we'll also connect it to the subslot, our current subslot. We activate the asynchronous node, master data, and put it in data. And here we'll pull out another custom event. This is load success. We're going to add a branch. And here we're going to be adding the player load. We have to connect this right here to the true output of the TurboStruct load node. Alright, and then once this has happened, we can go into the function and perform a getPlayerPawn. From here, we're going to make a call to player load, which is the function, this one right here, from the blueprint interface, whether it's player load or load player. We're going to search for load player as a message, then we'll connect it, and finally, we're going to release the variable. We're going to put a break in, and here, where the player is located, we'll put another break in. Alright, we connect, and we connect. Now we have everything all set. Alright, how do we see this? If anyone has a question regarding how this actually functions, we then inquire if it truly exists. After that, it comes over here into the load process. Once it has completed the load function's designated task, it then leaves the information fully loaded within this specific variable that we are passing to it as data. And if that went well, it will come to the true branch, and then it will enter through here. And now we need to configure the interface to send the data to the player. I'll come over here, I'll double click on load player, I'll copy this event, and then I'll go to the load graph. Okay, so we have got that in place. Pause. Then, over here, I'm going to perform a set actor transform operation. Pause. After that, I'll proceed to get the controller. Pause. And then, right here, we're going to execute a set rotation command. Specifically, a set control rotation for the camera. And finally, we're going to implement a player health system. We'll be connecting that directly to the player's health. Alright, that should do it. So now we've got everything completely set up with all of this in place. Now, when I head over to the map, and for example, I'm not sure, I'm going to come over to a... Behind this object, I'm going to press 3. It's safe there. I'm going to press escape, then we hit play, and I'm going to press 4. As you can see, it loads, and the object returns to its position with its rotation and everything. Now, if I'm over here on the map, and I press 4 again, I'm back here. And so it goes on. As you can see here in the TurboStruct database, if I hit refresh, I'll have the data updated with the rotation minus 153 degrees. I never changed my life. but I can change it in the editor and save it from the file. And now when I press 4, if I go to the player, I'll see that the health is now 49 because I edited it through the viewer. But with that, we finish the first part, which is the Singleton case. In the next part, I will look at the case of multiple objects. To do that, I'll create an object like a chest or something with some visual indicator or something like that, and we'll see you in that video.